Hello guys, welcome. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different because what we're going to be doing is learning how to take a 3D file in Blender, export it as a vector file, as a SVG file, clean it up on Inkscape, and take it to a laser cutter. In this case, what we're doing is I'm taking these files, this chesset that I've been working on. Now this is going to be a little bit of a self-promotion. I've been working on this chesset that is currently on Kickstarter. So if you want to support me, please feel free to, I'll put the link there, and get one of these chessets for yourself, or you can actually buy the files in the Kickstarter. Later on, I'll update that link if you want to download the files. I haven't decided if I'm gonna charge for them or if I'm gonna give them away for free. Anyways, um, what I was doing, and the reason I'm making this video, is that I'm working on the packaging, and what I wanted is to take these shapes, the 3D files, convert them to SVG, and then use it to cut. The real issue is that when I export from Blender, sometimes I get a very messy file and it needs taking away double lines and all this kind of stuff. And let's get started, and then little by little I'll be explaining some more. But so here's my 3D files. This is my 3D objects. And what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna focus on doing just one today. You can do them all, but in this case I'm gonna delete this for now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on this little guy, the pawn. And what I want to do is I want to export this front and then these line features here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I activated the SVG export for freestyle. It's activated. Second, I'm going to come into the edit mode of the file, select all my edges, go to edge and mark freestyle edge. As you can tell, it was already marked. That's why it was looking already green, but just make sure you mark all the edges. Third, I created a camera. As you can see, this is my camera. And what I'm gonna do right now, this is not necessary, but in this case, I'm just gonna align the camera to my to my pawn here, right? So there you go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna center my pawn a little bit. There we are. And once I centered it, you want to make sure that this is very big. I'll correct that in a second. But anyways, so the first thing is you want to make sure you're putting an output folder. Right now it's in the temporal file. In my case, I'm going to create a new, what is this? Oh, it's a temporal file. But I'm going to go to documents. I created this file called chess, and I'm going to select this folder. So now automatically when I click render, it's going to save an SVG file coming from the information from my freestyle edges. So this PNG here doesn't really matter because we're not going to be using it. Like I mentioned, it's going to be saved automatically. So go back to up here in render properties, activate freestyle SVG export. Um, in this case, frame meter, I think this is all good. Activate freestyle. And then what I'm going to do is go to the view layer settings. I'm gonna go to my freestyle line settings. So it's freestyle line set. There you go. And I'm gonna create a new line set, right? In this case, this new line set, I'm gonna stick to this number 3 or number 5 here. I'm gonna make sure. Look, I gotta actually let me just make it from scratch. So you have activated your freestyle. You can create a new file set. A line set, sorry. So you have your new line style, new line set. And what I'm doing is first I'm making visible, inclusive, logical OR, that's fine. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select only edge mark. And the reason for this is because I only wanna render the edges that have been marked. And in this case, it's only the ones in this span. Now I'm gonna select the camera again, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna increase the scale a bit so it's a little bit closer. Then I'm gonna move it on the x-axis. As you can see, because it's an orthographic camera, it doesn't matter if I move it on the Y because it's not really doing anything. Anyways, once I made sure that, again, I have a camera that is gonna save the lines from where I want. You can have perspective, it doesn't really matter. I choose my output folder. I created my line style and activated freestyle and freestyle export. As soon as I click F12 or go to render image, now when it finished rendering, if everything went right, you're going to be able to see your freestyle lines in your render. You can go ahead and save it or not, whatever you want to do with this picture, but it automatically saved it. If you navigate to the folder that we set up on the output properties, you're going to see that it made an SVG file for you. Now I'm going to open this file with Inkscape. So open with Inkscape. And here is the interesting part. If you look at this file here, you're gonna see that we have multiple lines in some places, and the file is kind of messy to work with if you're laser cutting. So here's where an extension that I found becomes very useful, and it's called it's from FabLab Chemnitz, and the extension is called Mightyscape. So I'll put the link there, but if you have installed something on Linux before, you shouldn't have any issues. There's also installation instructions for Windows. But the vpype tools have some extra installation steps, and we actually need them. So here it is, and they are here. You just navigate to the Mightyscape extensions. What's the name? Overview. Again, go to vpype tools, and here it comes the extra steps that you need to take. Now, you got installed some extra Python packages. If you haven't ever done these, I can you can ask, and I'll do my best to guide you, or I'll just make another video showing you how it needs to be done. But anyways, once you install this, you open the file, right? And we can, for example, select this extensions, FabLab Chemnitz, vpype tools, and we have this beautiful deduplicate plugin that I'm gonna use. 1mm seems to work fine with this part, so I'm gonna click apply. And what it did for me is that it, if you go to layers, I can turn off the, you can see it put the duplicated lines on a second layer, so I can shut this down, actually number 2 down. And now, if you see, we have a lot of little lines, but it seems like we only have one line on each place. So this already cleaned up the file for us. Now sometimes it's not perfect, and I noticed that, and sometimes you still have some double lines in some places. This time it looked like it worked, so you can change that tolerance there and test a couple of things if it's leaving some double lines. But in this case, I think it looks pretty clean. And we'll be able to notice this a little bit further ahead, because the next step is that we're going to take all those little lines, go to extensions, FabLab Chemnitz, and I think there's many tools to do this, but I like to use the other one that is in path join order, chain paths. I select snap connecting ends together, and what it does, it takes every little bit of those little lines that we got, and it's gonna weld them together. So it's gonna make a longer path. So apply, takes a little bit. Once it's done, we can see that if we select one of the paths, we get a much cleaner view. Now sometimes it's not perfect. As you can see here, we have a little bit of a tail here, right? This one right here. So I'm not sure why it does that sometimes. We can go ahead and increase the tolerance or decrease it and test. But for me, it's good enough. You know, it doesn't bother me that much. I'm pretty sure there's a better way to get it perfect if you need to, if you have a very long file. So it's just a matter of testing the extension. There's other tools too, but I like to use use it like that. And something that I do after that is I click Control L, because right now, if you look at it, we get all these control points where the lines used to be. So in order to get rid of that, I select this, extensions, and FabLab chainmates, and then I go to, oh no, never mind, just Control L, we're already there. Yep, so Control L, and what that did, it simplified our paths. So now we only have two control points. And this doesn't really matter when you're laser cutting uh, a lot because it's already a chain, so it's going to detect it like that. So if it's making something messy, like in this case it did here, you can convert it to a polyline, and you can try another set of tools. You have so many tools to play with this geometry. So I'm just gonna go back and leave it like this because it keeps this very nice edge on these corners. Now if I want to edit it, it's kind of messy, but there's ways to simplify this with the extensions provided here. If you have something specific, you can ask and I'll do my best to figure it out. But anyways, for me, this works really well. So all I do is I save this SVG, upload it to my I don't know, Glowforge account and print, or just convert it to a G code in my G code tools here and send it to my laser cutter, depending what laser cutter you're using. But yeah, that's it, guys. I think this took a little bit longer than I wanted, but have a great day, night, and see you soon with the next video for Blender for computational design.